Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the most popular Fallout game to date. Fallout Pinball. Oh, no, that's not it. Fallout Shelter. Yes, that's it. But what about Fallout Tactics? Yeah, that's right, there we go, Fallout Tactics. One of the games ever made, that's what it is. Interplay pumped out Fallout Tactics, Brotherhood of Steel in 2001. It is a very, dated game. Much like the other two, first Fallout 1 and 2. But this one's a little bit different. This is not an RPG. This is a tactical, top-down, strategic shooter of sorts. It removes all like the RPG elements. You can still pick, design your characters, just kind of pick their stats, but that's about it really. You can't make choices. You can't go where you want to go. You can't play the system to how you want and get really creative with it. The game's mostly a combat-driven game, because you're kind of like the guy in the sky, controlling 5 or 6 initiates from the Brotherhood. All have like their own traits, faces and guns and skills. Like you can have a sniper, a heavy gunner, a shotgunner, a strictly a melee person that's focused on stealth, stuff like that. You can get really creative with it. But it is not a traditional Fallout game in that sense. At times, if you remove the Pip-Boy and you remove the name Brotherhood everywhere, you won't even know it's a Fallout game, really. You won't even know. And yeah, so that kind of hurts it. And the game does break lore. It messes up the origins of the Brotherhood. But that's the thing I can kind of just go past, because it does explain how the Brotherhood went across the U.S. to the east through airships. And that's how they reached the capital wasteland in Fallout 3. So kind of a small little tie-in, but yeah, the game technically looks great. Much better than the first and second game. I mean, the first and second game had their charm in their graphics, but that was mainly 2D art. But what you're seeing here is kind of like 3-dimensional art. They rounded out the corners. They really designed some things. The lighting's better. It's great. The main antagonist is the calculator. That much there. Pretty interesting, I guess. It's like a hive mind between human and machine. Found in Vault Zero, but this game's aesthetics really aren't like the first two. This is like what you're seeing right now. That's a vault. That's a vault, and you're like, this doesn't look like a vault. What game? But yeah, so there's that. The environments are cool. It's set in Chicago, like New Chicago. And this takes place after Fallout 2. After we defeat the Enclave, but yeah, the environments look good. I think you go to Kansas, you go to Chicago, and you go to a few others. But it's a really hard game to play because I'm used to playing as one character, but in this you really gotta play like 5 or 6, and that can be really daunting. But yeah, that's gonna be Fallout Tactics. I'll play the trailers and the intros as well. All right, we have Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, the PS2 and Xbox exclusive games. This is the black sheep of the Fallout universe. No one talks about this game at all, and I can see why. I played an hour and a half of it, and I was like, no, I cannot play this game. The gameplay's fine. It's just, it does so many things to punch you in the face of the Fallout lore. They replace Nuka-Cola with Ball's energy drink. They make you play as a ghoul in a Brotherhood initiates. Like, if you know how that works, the Brotherhood don't like anything that's like a mutant or a ghoul. And why would they be in that? And the game has no direction in terms of where they want to go, but the gameplay's fine, I guess. It's a twin-stick shooter, basically. Top-down perspective, but it does so many bad things. But that will just make, as a Fallout fan, make you very upset to what you're looking at. Yeah, it was made in 2004, I believe, 2006, somewhere around there. It's the last title before Bethesda bought it, the license, so they could make Fallout 3. But this is Interplay's last game, and yeah. Again, for this game, I'll also include the trailers, the intros, and the cinematics at the end. But this is just my review, I guess, if you want to call it that, of these two games, because people forgot them for a reason. They are not your traditional Fallout games, not even close. And it's the sign of Interplay really losing touch of their own IP. And makes you glad Bethesda did buy it, because it didn't, who knows where it would be. Yeah, so this game has, like, mutants and everything in it. It has VATs, FEV, and Deathclaws, but they all look significantly different than when you last saw them. And the antagonist of this game is actually the lieutenant from the first game. They brought him back for some strange reason. I'm pretty sure he died in the events of Fallout 1, but whatever. They brought him back, and they made him some mutant blob thing. And I'm just like, why? I don't understand. And, like, this game's inventory's strange, and, like, the caps are different. There's many weapons and stuff, but they all look so strange. It's so weird. Right here, as I'm showing right now, this is actually the lieutenant. It's actually a general in this. Once you destroy him, he turns into a big blob. So yeah, that's Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. So yeah, here are the intros and the cinematics.
An American army is fighting for
1941, a date which will live.
Note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima.
These forces met their mark.
We have declared war in Vietnam.
but we don't plan to surrender either.
We are going to win.
Proportions and would lead to World War III.
Allied air forces began an attack on military
Decide that in the 21st century that America...
March 5th, 2052, the United States has officially closed.
The United States will go ahead with a national quarantine. The new plague virus.
Disaster sweeping
War. War never changes. It was the inevitable result of the path humanity had chosen. Everyone who entered into the conflict expected victory. Everyone was optimistic. But as the hostilities escalated, optimism faded, and society began to collapse. The great vaults were built to house the wealthy, the powerful, the influential, and those deemed necessary to their survival. Inside, resources and technology were stockpiled, a final defense against the coming Holocaust. With the past behind them and the present destroyed, they looked to the future. The sturdy Vault Zero was to be the nucleus of the Vault network, housing the greatest leaders, artists, and scientists. The inhabitants of Vault Zero were to reunite the vaults and lead the people to a new life, a new world. But after the bombs, the world would be a harsh one. To ensure the creation of a post-nuclear utopia, the Vault dwellers would need help. Machinery was constructed to tame a land hardened by the ravages of war, then tempered by nuclear winter. But plans were barely in place when the first missiles left the silos. During the destruction, communication between the vaults ceased. Entire vaults were lost. Those that survived were on their own. Not all vaults succumbed to the machinations of war. On North America's west coast, one group of military vault dwellers emerged almost unscathed. They surveyed the wasteland and squared their shoulders for the task ahead. These dedicated survivors salvaged the technology from the vaults. Technology that was studied, replicated, and fiercely guarded. For they knew that while their power came from numbers, their future lay in scientific knowledge. In time, they formed the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood used their knowledge to drive back the atrocities of the wasteland, proclaiming themselves the technological saviors of mankind. They scoured the land in search of more technology, raiding mutant camps, bandit towns, and the broken remains of other vaults. But even they could not keep pace with the high tolls demanded by life in the wasteland. The Brotherhood found themselves at odds with their need for new blood versus their code of technological secrecy. The debate was lengthy. Finally, the Elders ruled against sharing the technology with outsiders, convinced that they would endure as they had before. Further discussion was discouraged, and the Elders ordered the minority on a mission across the wastes. Super mutants, the foot soldiers of a conquered army, had been forced into a retreat across the mountainous barrier to the east. The Brotherhood constructed airships and dispatched the minority to track down and assess the extent of the remaining super mutant threat. But disaster struck while crossing the Great Mountains. A great storm gripped the main airship and flung it far from its course. The mighty ship was badly damaged. The smaller sections were torn from the main craft, never to be seen again. Many of the expedition's leaders were lost to the winds. The fraction of the crew that still survived struggled to keep their ship aloft before finally crashing on the outskirts of a once thriving metropolis. A city once called Chicago. Broken, scattered, and scarred, they took stock of the situation and once again squared their shoulders to the task ahead. The Brotherhood had much to offer the surrounding villages. They traded advanced medicines in exchange for food and labor. They traded protection from bandits in exchange for new...
Ten hut! All right, you mutated redneck green-skinned sacks of irradiated flesh, listen up! I am Paladin Rychek. I am in charge of training you backward maggots in the art of war and survival. In my time in the Brotherhood, I have personally trained more than 50 initiates, and I am proud to say almost 14 of them are still alive and kicking. The Elders have ordered me to mold you flabby, hip-slapping, berry-picking, rat-rubbing Brahmin kissers into capable warriors. And I am going to do it, even if it kills you. I will teach you how to eat, sleep, walk, talk, shoot, spit like a Brotherhood soldier. First level of training will be recruitment detail. You'll go to the surrounding villages and see what able-bodied primates are ready for an honest life's work. It is your duty to remind the village elders that if they want continued protection from the scum of this world, they will uphold their end of the bargain by providing resources and their best and brightest for Brotherhood training. Now get your weak-kneed, superstitious, soft-skinned, uneducated butts to the armory. You will be issued basic weapons and armor. There are 3 simple rules to follow with Brotherhood equipment. If you damage your weapon, you will spend a week in the box. If you damage your armor, you will spend a week in the box. If you lose either, I'll kill you myself. And one final thing, ladies. Welcome to the Brotherhood of Steel.
With your initiation now over, the Brotherhood reveals to you their highest objective. Fragments of data left over from before the Great War showed that the ancients spent many years constructing vaults to house the survivors. Recently acquired data, however, points to the creation of an enormous supervault. This nucleus of the vault network was built to protect the greatest minds of the time and would be the spearhead of post-war civilization. If the Brotherhood could find this vault and activate its systems, they would have access to technology resources previously undreamed of, as well as access to the ancients themselves. But the journey to the calculated location of Vault Zero would be perilous. A large army and a vast area of operations would be required for a mission of this magnitude. They planned to follow the roaring river to the south, forging alliances, gaining fresh recruits, and, if necessary, eliminating aggressors. Bunkers will be established in each new region to firmly establish a secure area of operations. When the Brotherhood's rule in the region is undisputed and their ranks are brimming with new recruits, the real campaign will begin, heading back towards the mountains. The Brotherhood's ranks have grown, and with their swollen numbers, they find themselves coming closer to the ultimate goal. The time to expand is now. Leaving an outpost behind, the warriors begin moving westward into a region known as the Belt. It is a scarred and desolate land, filled with death and the relics of a time before. Those who dwell here have scraped together a bleak existence, built on blood and grim determination. These isolated people are as hard as any in the wasteland. Pressuring these people to join the ranks of the Brotherhood will not be easy. Many will not understand the Brotherhood's glorious vision to reunite the people. Some resistance is expected. While the inhabitants are dangerous, the land itself has the power to stir up fearful memories in some of the generals and elders. They tell of the ill-fated flight across the mountains and how their mighty airships were torn apart. Old lore and surviving data suggests that at least one of the great Brotherhood Zeppelins was lost in this very region. If it were located, there is a chance the equipment and supplies it contained could be salvaged and returned to the noble purpose for which they were intended. There may even be survivors, but few hold any real hope of this. Only time will tell. The super mutants were a powerful adversary with great strength and courage. Without the leadership of Buren, though, they will never pose the same threat to the Brotherhood. It was the corruption of Buren that provided the most sobering lesson. Even the purest of hearts can falter. The elders and generals must push their sorrow aside, however, for they have more pressing matters to attend to. The data recovered from Buren's base indicates that the mutant force's route intersected with the calculated location of Vault Zero. It is possible that the mutant horde discovered the location of Vault Zero during their exodus from the west. Is there a connection between the mutants discovering Vault Zero and the emergence of the mechanical menace? Only time will tell. The future holds one thing for certain. More encounters with the robots are inevitable, and the Brotherhood has a new and deadly enemy. The Brotherhood's fears are confirmed. The robots now have multiple production factories around the wasteland. They are concentrated heavily around the Great Mountains, in a region known as Colorado Springs. This is the fabled location of Vault Zero, which houses the mastermind behind the robot menace, the Calculator. Data from the Brotherhood Research Center dates the origin of the robots before the war that decimated the land. Their purpose, to help humanity crawl back from the brink of self-destruction. But the robots now seek to destroy the very humans they were created to save. They boast great strength and power, and one factor seems certain. All life forms have become their prey. The Brotherhood has adapted to new enemies before, however, and with the development of new weapons, they will adapt again. Brotherhood tacticians and generals will not be idle, for new enemies require new tactics. Assault squads must be directed at the robot production and command centers that supply the Calculator's metallic ranks. The Brotherhood's predicted losses are staggering, but what is life as a warrior without peril? In the paranoid times leading up to the war, new vaults were being constructed every day. The ancient temples of war known as NORAD became the home for Vault Zero, a storage place for the cryogenically frozen geniuses of the time. The Calculator was built to be a mixture of machine and man, a gestalt of mechanical switches and human brains linked through a cybernetic interface. Supposedly, representing the ideal society, these brains were to govern the higher functions of the Calculator, powering its neural network. The Calculator was designed to oversee the repopulation of the continent in the event of a war, and educate the new humanity in the ways of the old world. But first, it was to sterilize the land, making a fresh start for the soon-to-be emerging citizens of Neo-America. For this task, the Calculator had at its disposal an army of emergency pacification robots that were designed to survive the Holocaust and surface from the ashes immediately after to begin their task. But a mechanical malfunction left the Calculator damaged during the years since the bombs dropped. Mankind had to find its own ways in the darkness of the post-apocalypse. Only now is the Calculator activating its robots and embarking on its mission of mass genocide. Because of hardwired programming, it is unable to adapt to the world that has arisen while it slumbered. The Calculator will not listen to pleas or threats. It cannot be bargained with. It must be stopped. Deep in the warrior's heart, the decision had been made long ago. To forfeit one's life for the security of others. What nobler end could there be? Sacrifices were always expected, but to lose one's mortal shell and join with a machine is not an ending. Instead, it is a new beginning, revolving around the rebirth of humanity. The first command to speed through the new Calculator's relays is the disabling of the active robotic forces, averting the sterilization of all life on the continent. The warrior's mind had proven itself exceptional time and again in the field of battle. Now working in conjunction with the calculator's sheer processing power, a union between the Brotherhood of Steel and the robotic forces quickly takes shape. The region sees new laws established to ease humanity back into civilized life. Laws that are strictly enforced by the combined patrols of Brotherhood soldiers and pacification robots. To speed the unification process, discrimination against mutates is outlawed. Many prejudices are eliminated through education or the harsh implementation of Brotherhood justice. The willingness to overcome differences opens avenues of recruitment that would have otherwise remained unutilized. Mutated creatures that wish to live in peace under the new regime are welcomed, though hesitantly, into the population. Old hatreds and fears are soon forgotten as the task at hand becomes apparent. Humans, ghouls, super mutants, and deathclaws all work together to begin transforming the wastelands into a post-nuclear utopia. The combined knowledge of the Brotherhood and Calculator's databases are a powerful tool for reshaping the world, and no time is wasted. Technology is slowly reintroduced into the land. Irrigation systems are established, bringing water to the barren soils for the first time in decades. New settlements spring up as land becomes fertile once again, with places of learning becoming the hubs of the fledgling civilization. A combination of old world science with new world wisdom paves the way to higher understanding and unity among the population. The new regime begins to expand across the wasteland, absorbing towns and villages and quickly dispatching those that would halt progress. Soon, the Brotherhood is protector to a string of settlements. As the Brotherhood's power grows, so does its hold on the wasteland. But one question remains. What will happen when this young civilization encounters the original, knowledge-hoarding Brotherhood of Steel? The scribes and elders prepare for the meeting and hope to put differences in the past as the future of mankind hangs in the balance. But that is a battle for another day and perhaps another hero.
In the 1950s, we dreamed of a better world. Clean, fusion-powered cars, robots that walk the dog, peaceful existence thanks to the wonders of science. We were close to achieving that dream when war broke out. Nuclear weapons were used without restraint. It was the nightmare everyone feared. It was the Great War. Millions died during the first attacks. A few people fled to underground vaults, but many more on the surface fell victim to the burning, poisonous air. For those who endured, there was only the wasteland. No order, no law, only survival. Radiation and new viruses changed the face of life on Earth forever. Out of nowhere, an army of giants called mutants appeared. They slaughtered many people and altered many more to add to their numbers. The Brotherhood of Steel, self-appointed knights of the wasteland, arose to drive off the mutants. They gave humanity peace and a glimmer of hope. But even now, the Brotherhood remains small in number, limited in power. And the dangers of the wasteland only seem to grow with each day that passes.